Hey guys, so we are back with part 4, or whatever number we're at now, because honestly, I've lost track at this point. Today, we're continuing our deep dive into the Matty Healy lore hidden, or in some cases, extremely obvious, in Taylor Swift's music. This video is divided into 2 sections. First, I'll break down Taylor's lyrics and decode their meaning. Then, if there are any sister songs from the 1975 that explore similar themes, I'll discuss them alongside Taylor's music. I've been a Taylor fan for almost 15 years now, so I'm naturally more familiar with her music and eras. I only recently started listening to the 1975, and I love their music. It's stunning. That said, I do have some reservations about certain aspects of Matty's behavior in recent years. But just to be clear, this analysis isn't about attacking anyone personally. We're here to break down the music based on the information we have about both artists. At the end of the day, I respect them both for their artistry. With that out of the way, I have a quick announcement about my planned content for April. I think you guys will love it. If you don't want to wait till the end, or you're just here for that update, I've added a chapter marker so you can skip straight to it. All right, let's get into it. We've already covered Lavender Haze and Maroon in depth, so now we're moving on to the rest of Midnights. And of course, we have to start with track 4, Snow on the Beach. This song was really intriguing to me the first time I heard it. Initially, I assumed it was about her long-term relationship at the time. It sounded like a really sweet love song. But now, looking back, it definitely feels suspicious. Lyrically, it doesn't necessarily give us new information we didn't already have, but it paints a picture of someone who is almost glowing, lit from within. They light up her life, making her feel like she's in a dream. But there's an interesting duality here. We only see the shine of a star because of the darkness of space. That suggests she wasn't in a great place, maybe even in an unhappy relationship. And because of that, this person felt brighter, warmer, and she was naturally drawn to them, like a moth to a flame. There are also a lot of references to stars and flying, which gives me the imagery of 2 planets orbiting the sun. Their paths cross at one point, but because of the nature of life, which, in Taylor's words, is emotionally abusive, they can't stay in one place for long. They're pulled in different directions again. To me, the title represents something that feels impossible but actually happens. Something beautiful and rare, yet fleeting. I also think there's a connection to Cowboy Like Me. In both songs, she's describing a relationship that wasn't supposed to happen. Here's how I see it. Taylor has always written about heartbreak. That's what fuels her art. Falling in love was never the plan. The plan was to move on and use personal experiences to create music. But this person, their muse, is the same way. He also writes about love, heartbreak, and personal experiences. So in a way, they understand each other deeply. Turning pain into art comes naturally to both of them. And yet, despite everything, they fall for each other. Just like how snow falls on the beach. It shouldn't happen, but it does. This line, blurring out the periphery, suggests that when this person was in front of her, nothing else existed. Everything else faded away. It's like seeing the aurora borealis. When it's in front of you, you can't look away. It also makes me wonder, was this moment so intense that for a brief period she forgot she was in a relationship? Everything else blurred out, and it was just them? At its core, this song feels like it's about rekindling an old flame, one that was just as intense on both sides. It's beautiful. It's rare. But ultimately, life pulls them apart again. All right, guys. Now we're getting into the most talked about song from Midnights when it comes to the Matty Healy speculation. Question. When I first heard this song, I was completely confused. The lyrics were weird, the production was weird, and then there's that sample of Out of the Woods at the beginning, which made everything even more puzzling. Initially, people thought this might be about Harry Styles, since Out of the Woods was widely believed to reference their relationship. But then Taylor did this.
I don't know. It's not just the tour, it's like, I don't know, I just sort of feel like my life finally feels like it makes sense. And so I thought I'd play this song, which brings me really a lot of happy memories. Good girl, sad boy.
Just like that, she basically spelled it out for us. So here we are, diving into one of the most chaotic songs on the album. The opening line, good girl, sad boy, big city, wrong choices, pretty much sets the stage. It paints a picture of 2 people in New York caught up in something intense, but ultimately things don't work out due to miscommunications and misunderstandings. Now the entire song feels like a conversation with an ex, one where she's looking for closure. She's essentially asking, if one thing had been different, would everything be different? Or, why did you do that? Why did you do this? Do you wish you had done things differently? And as the song progresses, you can feel her getting more and more uninhibited. Maybe she's been drinking, because the production definitely gives that spiraling, slightly disoriented feeling, especially in the bridge, which is by far the craziest part of the song. That's when she drops the line, "Do you think everything is second best after that meteor strike?" Now, this meteor strike seems to symbolize their past relationship, like this intense, once-in-a-lifetime thing that nothing else will ever measure up to. And there's this sinking feeling that they will never experience a love like that again, except with each other. It's a lot of heavy questions. And let's be real, none of us would want to be on the receiving end of this interrogation from an ex, right? Now, there's an old rumor from Dumois dating back to 2014, which claimed that at a party, Taylor publicly kissed Matty in front of everyone, completely catching him off guard. If that's true, then the lyric, "Did you ever have someone kiss you in a crowded room?" could be a direct reference to that moment. She also acknowledges that her old flame has moved on and is now with someone else. And she's like, "I'm sure that's what's suitable. But we all know that if he were single again, she'd jump at the chance." Still, she keeps playing it cool, saying, "It's just a question. Like, relax, she's just asking. No big deal, right?" Now this is where it gets really interesting. There's a song by the 1975, one of their biggest hits, called "I'm in Love with You" from Being Funny in a Foreign Language. And if you look closely at the lyrics, it feels like a direct reply to Question. Here's what I mean. In Question, Taylor sings, "Have to say, by the way, I just may like some explanations." And in I'm in Love with You, Matty sings, "There's something I've been meaning to say to you, baby." Then he follows it up with, "What a call. Moving in, I feel like I can loosen my lips. Come on so strong. I can summarize it for you. It's simple, and it goes like this." This could literally be referencing that kiss in a crowded room moment. And then there's another line. She's got her broadsheet reading down the list of the go-in wrongs, which sounds a lot like Question, where Taylor is literally listing out everything that went wrong. One thing I find fascinating is that both of them talk about their failed relationship as a series of external circumstances. Things just went wrong, or the timing was off. But at no point do they actually take personal accountability for their roles in the relationship. And let's be honest, that's not really how relationships work. Even if the circumstances were tough, at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for your own actions if you want a relationship to last. And I don't think either of them were at that point yet. So yeah, Question is basically Taylor's drunken interrogation of an ex, and I'm in Love with You feels like a half-hearted, maybe too late response from Matty. Now, let's start with Bejeweled. This song is often seen as an empowerment anthem, but if you look closely, there's a lot more going on here. Right away, there's a possible reference to the 1975, which, in retrospect, makes a lot of sense. She essentially lays out what may have led her to move on from her long-term relationship. The main message is that she was taken for granted. She was in a relationship where she wasn't allowed to shine. She wasn't allowed to be bejeweled, and we all know that Taylor Swift does not stay where she isn't appreciated. Then she describes a new person, someone who was high, which, let's be real, doesn't exactly disqualify Matty Healy, and referred to her aura as Moonstone. Now here's where it gets interesting. Moonstone is a crystal associated with intuition and deep emotions, something that fits Taylor's songwriting and their supposed connection. And most importantly, she says they danced all night, a moment that could have marked the beginning of something between them. Maybe this was the point where she started considering him again before actually diving headfirst into it. Then we get to Labyrinth, which honestly is one of the most emotionally raw songs on Midnights. It feels like she's describing a love that she knows is coming, but at this point, they aren't in a relationship yet. There's a sense of anticipation, like she knows she's about to fall, but she's still trying to process it. And then she sings, "Oh no, I'm falling in love again." There's a hesitance here, like she's shocked at how quickly she's catching feelings. Then there's this line, "Oh, it only hurts this much right now," which sounds like she's preparing herself, as if she's already bracing for the potential heartbreak that could come if they ever break up. She's weighing the pain of not being with him against the potential pain of falling too deep and losing him. Now, one of the most interesting lyrics in this song is, "I thought the plane was going down. How'd you turn it right around?" This one really makes you think. She could be talking about her emotional state at the time, how she felt like she was crashing down after her last relationship. Maybe she expected to fully crash and burn, but somehow this person, her new muse, saved her from that downward spiral. It's also worth noting that she references the labyrinth of her mind again in Guilty as Sin from TTPD. One slip and falling back into the hedge maze, which is such a classic Taylor way of saying, "I was trying so hard not to fall, but here we go again." All right, now let's talk about Karma. When I first heard the lyric, "Karma is the guy on the screen coming straight home to me," I immediately thought, okay, this makes sense because her partner at the time was an actor. He was literally on TV, so naturally, that line seemed pretty on the nose. But then I heard, "If you're too shy, let me know," by the 1975, and suddenly things got interesting. So this song directly references a guy wanting to talk to the girl on the screen. And now Taylor is saying that the guy on the screen is coming home to her. This suggests a long-distance dynamic where they weren't physically together for a while, but eventually reunited to the point where they were actually living together or in a serious relationship. Now, here's where it gets really intriguing. The lyrics in If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know include, I've got to see the girl on the screen. There's this whole theme of wanting to connect beyond a digital or distant space. And in Karma, Taylor flips it. Now he's the guy on the screen, but he's not distant anymore. He's back home with her, which begs the biggest question of all. When did they actually start dating? Because it seems like they launched themselves publicly much later, long after they were possibly already in a relationship privately. Of course, we're not entitled to that knowledge, as much as we'd love to know every detail. And I respect that. But it does make you wonder how much of this relationship was happening behind the scenes before the world officially knew about it. All right, guys, buckle up, because what I'm about to say might be rage-inducing for some people. I know that many Swifties don't like when we reinterpret past songs in retrospect, or when we try to fit theories into things. And trust me, I was really hesitant to include this part in my analysis, but I just could not ignore the signs. So, let's talk about High Infidelity, You're Losing Me, and the infamous date, April 29th. Now, in You're Losing Me, Taylor sings, you might just have dealt the final blow. And I remember when I first heard that, I, along with so many others, was wondering what exactly was the final blow? We knew her long-term relationship had ended, but what was the one moment that pushed it over the edge? Well, I think High Infidelity actually gives us a lot of clues. So let's go lyric by lyric. Lock broken, slur spoken, wound open, game token. First, lock broken. This lock imagery appears multiple times in the Tortured Poets department, in Guilty as Sin, in Fresh Out the Slammer, and most notably in So Long London, where she sings, I stopped trying to drill the safe. She repeatedly paints her muse as someone emotionally unavailable, like she was trapped, like she was trying to break free from something. But then suddenly the lock is broken. So what caused that? Next, by the slur spoken. Now, I don't know exactly what was said, but based on the context of the song, it seems like it was something hurtful, something that left an open wound. Then, game token. This is where it gets interesting. To me, this lyric suggests that after whatever was said, Taylor went into full game mode. Maybe she felt provoked. Maybe she felt like she had nothing left to lose. Maybe she did something as a reaction to the pain. And honestly, this wouldn't be the first time she's implied that she's had that kind of fight-back energy in relationships. The line, rain-soaking, blind hoping, immediately made me think of So Long London from TTPD. In that song, she sings, wet through my clothes, weary bones caught the chill. Both songs describe a cold, lonely, hopeless feeling. And in High Infidelity, the lyric, blind hoping, suggests that she was still holding on to something, hoping that maybe things could get better. But we've all been there, right? When you're desperately hoping for a relationship to change, but deep down, you kind of know it won't? Yeah, that's the energy I get from this. You said I was freeloading. This is by far one of the most shocking lines in High Infidelity. Who is out here calling Taylor Swift a freeloader? But here's where I think this line isn't about money. Freeloading doesn't always mean financially. It can also mean emotionally. And what if this line is actually connected to You're Losing Me? In that song, Taylor is literally begging her partner to show her something. Do something, babe. Say something. She's pleading for emotional reciprocity. And what if, instead of getting that, she was shut down, told that she was asking for too much? That would explain why, in High Infidelity, she talks about reacting, about bending the truth, about playing a game, about something shifting after that moment. And honestly, that would be the final blow. Because when you're begging someone to fight for you, and they refuse, that's when you finally let go. Now, this is where things get even wilder. Remember in Bejeweled when the band asks if she has a man and she says, I don't remember. That feels eerily similar to High Infidelity when she describes dancing around the truth. Maybe this was the moment she bent the truth too far, not lying necessarily, but also not fully admitting the reality of her situation. There's another line in High Infidelity that directly mirrors So Long London. Dragged my feet right down the aisle. Now, in So Long London, she sings, I died on the altar waiting for the proof. Both lyrics convey the same emotion, a long-term relationship where she felt like she was waiting for something that never came. And then there's this gut-wrenching line. You know there's many different ways that you can kill the one you love. The slowest way is never loving them enough. That perfectly sums up So Long London, because what if that was the real issue all along? What if Taylor loved him more than he ever loved her? And what if, by the time she realized that, years had already passed? All right, now let's talk about that lyric. Do you really want to know where I was April 29th? So here's what I found. A lot of people connect this date to the Met Gala or Gigi Hadid's birthday party, where Taylor reportedly met Joe Alwyn for the first time. But here's where it gets suspicious. On Instagram, Taylor liked every single one of Joe's posts. up until April 26th, 2022. And after that, nothing. Now, obviously, this could mean nothing. Maybe she just stopped using Instagram. Maybe she just didn't feel like liking posts anymore. But if something major happened between them around this time, that timeline definitely makes sense. And who was also in the studio with Jack Antonoff during this time? Matty Healy. Maybe Matty saw the aftermath of whatever happened. Maybe he was the one who made her feel alive again after CPR failed in You're Losing Me. All right, guys, we need to talk about Glitch. Because as we now know, this song is very likely about Matty Healy. And honestly, it connects so seamlessly to Snow on the Beach. Both songs describe a moment of complete disbelief where Taylor's entire system glitched. So let's break it down. From the very start, this song makes it clear that she was not supposed to fall in love. We were supposed to be just friends. This line alone sets the stage. She had a different plan. Maybe casual dating. Maybe just situationships, but not this. But then something shifted. Something she didn't expect. Her emotions glitched. This concept mirrors what we talked about with Snow on the Beach. How she wasn't looking for love, but suddenly there it was, staring her in the face. And what happens next? Fastened myself to you with a stitch. This is such a striking lyric. She didn't just fall for him, she physically felt tied to him, like a wound that needed to be stitched shut. But instead, it just kept pulling her back to him. It makes you wonder, was she trying to hold herself together? Or was this her way of saying that, no matter what, she was always going to be connected to him? In search of glorious happenings of happenstance on someone else's playground. Now this lyric, this is huge. Because if you really break it down, it suggests that she was still with Joe, someone else's playground. But her muse, Matty, came back into her life anyway. It hints at the idea that even before her breakup became official, she and Matty had reconnected. Now, I know that's going to make a lot of people mad. Trust me, I get it. But we have to be honest, the timeline is sus. And this lyric suggests that even if it wasn't physical, they were emotionally reconnecting before she was fully out of her long-term relationship. 2,190 days of our love blackout. Okay, this line might be the biggest piece of evidence that they had a history that goes way beyond what we thought. Let's do the math. 2,190 days equals 6 years. So basically, Taylor is saying that they had a 6-year-long blackout in their love story. And if we go back in time, 2022 minus 6 years equals 2016, which means the last time they were together before reconnecting was 2016. Now, this lines up perfectly with what we've hypothesized in earlier videos, that they might have gotten together multiple times, and one of those times was likely in 2016, somewhere between Calvin Harris and Joe Alwyn. And that changes everything. It means this wasn't a new thing. This wasn't a random fling that started in 2023. It means they've had unfinished business for years. And if that's the case, then Glitch isn't just a song about an unexpected love. It's about a love that was always meant to happen, but just kept getting interrupted. Another thing that stands out is the lyric, and that's romance, let's dance. Now, this is such a contrast to what she said in Cowboy Like Me, where she sings, dancing is a dangerous game. This shift in perspective is so important. Back when she wrote Cowboy Like Me, she was reluctant to let herself fall in love. She saw it as a risk, something she wasn't sure she wanted to engage in. But now in Glitch, she's like, screw it, I'm in. She's finally ready to embrace this relationship fully, without fear, without hesitation, because maybe, just maybe, she finally realized that this wasn't some passing thing. Maybe this was it all along. All right, guys, before we end the video, I have a fun announcement for you. April is right around the corner, and we all know what that means. The Tortured Poets Department's 1-year anniversary is coming up on April 19th. So, to celebrate, I'm dedicating the entire month of April to breaking down TTPD songs. That means 4 weeks, 4 videos, and a deep dive into every song from the album. Their hidden meanings, connections to Taylor's past albums, and even more Easter eggs that we may have missed. So mark your calendars, because every week in April, we're diving into the poetic chaos of TTPD. And if you don't want to miss out, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Trust me, you'll want to be here for this. Okay, now I need to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the Glitch and Snow on the Beach connection? And what do you think actually happened on April 29th? Do you buy into the 6-year blackout theory? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm replying to as many of you as I can. If you loved this breakdown, don't forget to like this video. It really helps me out. And of course, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss next week's deep dive. Because trust me, we are just getting started with the Tortured Poets Department theories. Okay, so that's it for now. I will see you guys next week, so bye.